Hello, product people. Welcome to the Product for Product podcast, hosted by Matt Green, data advocate and product manager, and Moshe Mikanovsky, product leader and author. Our goal is to serve the product community by helping you find products that can help make your work in product management easier. Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Product for Product podcast.
Welcome back, everyone. On today's episode, Moshe and I are kicking off a series on AI and product management. It's obviously a big topic these days, so we aim to work through the hype and discuss how AI is a tool we should leverage for knowledge, but not allow it to completely replace our understanding. So on that note, how you doing, Moshe?
I'm good, Matt. How are you?
I'm doing well, enjoying the cooler temperatures down here in the southern U.S.
Yes. I went through a forest walk yesterday, and
Me as well.
the trees, when you look from far, the entire forest looks orange, but when you're inside, it's only on the outside. The inside, it's still green, which is so
Ah,
cool.
interesting. Yeah. Yeah, it's the leaves are changing down here, but nothing probably like Canada and the northern US. So
Yeah,
things typically change here and then all the leaves fall off pretty quick. So
and thank
but
goodness AI cannot affect that.
that's right. Not right not right now. Yeah, it does not adjust our reality. Well, maybe with the Facebook glasses or the Meta glasses or something like
No,
that.
I'll go to the forest without them.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. But it was a nice day to walk in the woods. You got to get out there and do that sometimes. Touch
Exactly,
grass.
exactly. So AI, we talked a lot about AI.
It
Too
keeps
much,
coming up in all of our
too
shows, I
much, I
think. So
think, though.
it's hard not to. And that's why I was like leading off where there's a lot of hype. I mean, there's a lot of you can't really go anywhere these days without seeing it mentioned, and especially in product management, but like anywhere in general. They whether you're following economics and whatnot. So they talk about it everywhere, I think, these days. So all businesses are leaning into it. So it's kind of unescapable. And so hopefully with our series and, I think we can keep this rolling along the way. But I think with the series, we can really tune out some of that noise and get to like what really matters for us as PMs.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking about hype, I definitely recommend to look into the Gartner hype cycle.
Mm-hmm.
If our audience are not familiar with that, they release every year hype cycles for any type of technology. It's quite amazing. I think they have almost 100 different hype cycles. The leading ones these days, of course, is AI, and the overall one that is emerging technologies. But that's always
Mm-hmm.
interesting to see. And it's really interesting to see in the Gardner in the AI one all the different AI technologies and where they are exactly in the hype.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So have a look at that because I think this is eye-opening a bit.
Yeah. Isn't that the one with the trough of disillusion?
Yes, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So okay, so we wanted to do a little series about AI
Mm-hmm.
because there are a lot of different tools out there, and
Yep.
because we're talking a lot about AI here and there. We did a couple of episodes here and there about using AI in the past, but I think we both felt that it's time to talk about it a little
Directly about it.
deeper, right?
Right.
Um, and the thought I had was, where does AI help us in our job to be done? So our user journey as product managers. So
Mm-hmm.
we all have job to be done, of course. We're always looking at what are the jobs to be done of our clients.
Mm-hmm.
But with all of those tools, they should look at about what are our jobs to be done.
Right.
And we recently covered my product management toolkit
Mm-hmm.
that is really also about the tools for us as product people. And therefore, in each one of our journey, there are different things we need to achieve.
Right.
And therefore, how AI specifically can help with that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, AI has really become ambiguous in the work I'm doing, potentially the work you're doing, and what product managers are doing across the board. I use it on a daily basis now, and sometimes I'm not even, always thinking about it. I'm like, okay, like I need to ask a question, polish my language, work on update a slide deck, update something like. I'm using it in parallel with my jobs to be done, and I'm brainstorming with it, asking agents to do certain things. So I'm not always thinking about it. And so it's almost become a, hey, I just know it's there and I'm going to lean on it. It helped me, boost my understanding of how things are working. So that's why I think, and if you tune out the noise and tune out a lot of the hype that you might see on like LinkedIn and X and some of these places, I think most PMs are using it in some aspect these days. They're just not necessarily like AI product managers. So
Yeah. And you don't need to be an AI product manager in order to use AI.
yeah, and that's the thing. And I kind of harp on that, and I kind of like it's kind of like a thing I see a lot these days, and I that's more of that hype I think that we see, and I think you don't have to be an AI product manager. You have to be a product manager that uses AI.
Yeah, I mean, there are two different things.
Yeah.
I think that every product manager these days should know how to build an AI into their product
hmm
because I'm not saying it will be, it might be required to do to keep competitive, to get more unique value proposition for your product, to keep up some moats in there, whatever that is.
hmm
So actually, the AI product manager is also a bit of I don't know. It's a specialty, but
Yeah.
it's still not it shouldn't be like just some people doing it and other people don't do it. Everyone should really do it.
Everyone
But
should.
but
Absolutely.
what we want to talk today is about the other things. It's the product ops, and it's like how do those AI things out there can help us in our jobs,
hmm
right?
Yeah.
So the way I think about it, I always go back to the way I think about the our journey, which is from ideas through discovery, setting up our strategy based on whatever we learn, then prioritization, then delivery with the team, to launch and go to market and monitoring the product to go back to the beginning, right?
hmm
Very simplified workflow, but I think that in every one of these steps, there is some places where AI can play a role and help us.
Yeah, I see AI as that knowledge worker. So it's working alongside you, and I treat it like a partner. So every step along the way, from research, discovery, ideation, design, and all that kind of stuff, it really helps as a partner along the way in
Mhm.
all
Mhm.
those components.
So maybe let's talk a bit some of the products that we're going to talk about.
hmm
The first one, of course, we can't really avoid it, is the LLMs. So
hmm
all of those LLMs out there, since ChatGPT came to our life, we have quite a few of them,
Yep.
and we use them in different ways. You can use them for, research. You can use them to write for you different things or change how you write or whatever that is.
hmm
Um, so that will be, one that we definitely have to touch because it's really, I think this is where our as a universe, our exposure to AI started, and a
hmm
lot of people are still only there, and there is definitely limitations in it. It's not covering everything that we could do or
Right.
everything that we should do, and it's also creating some problems on its own, right? It's getting better all the time,
hmm
even though I've heard also that with some bad information put out there by AI, it's actually consuming it and getting worse. So I don't know.
Yeah. It all garbage in, garbage out at the end of the day. So that's a
Mhm.
lot of how it goes. So
Exactly. And usually they are not specialized in product management, even though some people are building on top of them some, you know, things that are specialized into different sectors or different needs or stuff like that.
right. You can give it a context of like, hey, I'm a product manager working in the
Mhm.
fintech space and I focus on B2B payments or something like that. And you can give it the context to then say, okay, I understand a little bit about your role and I can, and that's what, you can see some of those in ChatGPT. Some people have custom product management experts, I guess, expert a bit of an agent maybe, but not necessarily an agent per se. But you see those in like ChatGPT, like personalized, like coaches almost.
Yeah, yeah. And then we will look into the discovery portion and how do we build prototypes or even MVPs,
Hmm.
or just whatever the names are, it doesn't really matter. Just
Right.
things that we can put in front of users very quickly and get them to test our hypothesis.
Hmm.
So in the past, we had a whole series about no-code platforms, and we were talking back then about how they can be good with that. So
Hmm.
now we will cover a few products that are vibe coding products for
Yeah.
developing applications just with prompt, right?
Right.
So that's the second type of products we will do. Um, and we will see whether they are production worthy or not yet,
Right.
right?
That's still a big question out there. It's like you
Exactly.
can you can make some interesting things, but has anybody actually put them in the wild?
The good thing is that as product managers, we are not owning the feasibility,
Hmm.
owning the feasibility. We are owning the value and viability.
Hmm.
So our engineers should be the one to judge those products to say whether their outputs are production worthy.
Hmm.
But to test and validate value and viability, we can definitely use those products to do quick and dirty things,
Right.
right?
Yeah. It's a good point. And you can do quick and dirty things, and then ultimately you have to translate that into requirements and translate that into like what they're actually going to build. So I think there's still a gap between the design prototyping stuff where you can do some quick things and add an image to a Jira ticket, like, hey, this is what it's supposed to look like. You can maybe do some additional prototyping, but you still need to translate into that to, hey, this is what we're actually going to build and what we're capable of building into our platform.
Mhm.
So there's still, I think, a gap there.
Yeah. Yeah. And then if we're thinking about the strategy, I think that the strategy is really the core that, I don't know, I would be afraid to use AI for that. Maybe to give me some ideas, but if we're given this from our position as product people, I think we're given everything.
Mm.
So strategy is probably the core, that we should move into if we have not done it yet,
Hmm.
to really um, direct where we're going with the product that is aligned with where the company is going.
Right.
So we could get ideas from from LLM, but we definitely should keep, the decisions there as we are the one to make those decisions, right?
Right. And I think context is again key there because, I've used it for pricing and packaging, brainstorming, like, hey, this is what I think pricing and packaging should be. Go look at the market and say like, hey, does this make sense? What are others doing in pricing and packaging? This is how actually we do it at our company. And so
Mm,
I think that's like, you know how your company does it and you know what you want to do with something. If you're releasing like a new product line, for example, like let's say APIs, if you're releasing APIs, like, hey, how does the market handle these types of things?
mhm.
And so that's where AI can help, like, tune your thinking, but not
So
prescribe,
research,
not
yeah,
prescribe. Yeah,
yeah. So research, and maybe help you to think about things you didn't think on your own.
that's it.
But
Yep.
but at the end of the day, you should be the one to make the decisions. It might be able to help you do some analysis to
Hmm.
say, in the long term, if we are successful here and with this strategy, what might happen?
Hmm.
So what if scenarios or things like that. But I would really double check its numbers and double check everything.
Yeah, 100%. When you start dealing with numbers like, hey, what's your customer base? How much ARR do you have? These kinds of things. Like, it's in order to come up with pricing and packaging for go to market, there's a lot of different components, a lot of different variables you have to have. And are you okay with sharing that with an LLM? Because then some of the things we're going to be talking about during this series is oversharing and providing information to an LLM.
Mm,
Or do you want to overshare enterprise knowledge to
right.
them? And is that truly private? And
That
uh,
also depends on what type of LLM you're using and the
absolutely,
security
yeah.
layer and their terms of usage and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Okay, good. And then the next step is prioritization. There is probably ways that AI can help with the prioritization. I can think about, I don't know if it will cover it specifically because I've not seen a product that just that this.
Hmm.
But if we're thinking about all our boards, backlog boards and
Hmm.
our um, road mapping and board systems, which we covered both of them in the past,
Yeah.
there can definitely be ways that AI in them can help with the context of those of the information we put over there to help us prioritize. But again, if they don't have the context and they don't understand where our strategy is,
Hmm.
then it could be also very dangerous. So we need to and garbage in, garbage out, as you said before, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
It could lead you to chase the wrong things.
Mhm.
But if it comes down to like just working through like, hey, you have 10,000 feedback items in your backlog, like, hey, synthesize this for me and help prioritize these. How often does a keyword come up, like analytics, and how many people are asking about analytics?
Mhm.
Okay, like that's a 40% are asking about analytics. You're like, okay, it gives you some signal, like we had a conversation with Tim, like on signals of discovery. It gives you a strength of signal, like, okay, like there's something there, versus you having to
Absolutely.
go, yeah, versus you having
Absolutely.
to read through all those different feedback comments and stuff like that.
Absolutely. So what it can do, and I'm glad you brought this up, it can bubble up things to the surface that we might not have noticed
Hmm.
because there is so much data. So we will talk about agentic AIs, and with agentic AIs, that's a place where it can do that.
Hmm.
So whether you build your own agentic AI, if the system you're using are not doing that, or the system that you're using that have the data already expose this information up, you know, with an agentic AI or just with your own whatever.
Yep.
So I think that that could be a very useful use of AI. And I don't want to jump to the end of the workflow of the user journey, but we'll talk to that about that also when I get to the last step of monitoring.
Hmm.
Um, but in the next step of development, delivery of our product, that's more on the developers and them
Hmm.
working with whatever vibe coding that they want to work on and whatever AI they want to work on, to help them. But if we're working in sprints and we need to understand on an ongoing basis where we are, the risks that we have during the work and stuff like that. That's again more input that or context that our systems could put into the AI models to again pop up the information up to tell us, are we on the right track or
Hmm.
not, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
This is more, I see it more of a project management step rather than product management step. Not necessarily what all product managers are doing, but I know that some product managers are considered project managers on their
We,
teams. So
yeah.
unfortunately, they might have to do that as well.
For better or for worse, we do cross over into different different personas sometimes. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think AI can help with velocity. Just like, hey, I need time to value. Like, hey, we
Mhm.
need to get this shipped. We need to work on this. Like, is there anything lacking during our sprint? Are we falling behind somewhere? Can AI help tweak something? Does engineering need to ask questions and
Yeah.
tune stuff with? So again, I think potentially a new partnership there, but I know that's more developer engineering focused, but you
Yeah.
see it more and more these days where engineering management and leadership says you need to be leveraging some sort of co-pilot or something like that in your development in some capacity.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, like it's still as a product manager, you're on that team. You're working with the developers and engineers. At the end of the day, you're all striving to deliver value to the customer.
And
So,
designers, of course.
and design, yeah, totally.
There is one other use case that we should mention over here. I'm sure we will learn more use cases during the series, and I'm excited about that. But I know that a lot of product managers are using AI to write stories. Um, they're, you know, bad ways to do it, and
Hmm.
there are probably good ways to do it. So I've heard recently about someone, so I hope it will come up in one of the episodes, but someone that is created a whole context to the LLM of this is how we write stories on one
Hmm.
hand. So what the stories need to have structurally, and then with the prototypes they create in with the vibe coding application, they feed that to the LLM somehow, and
Hmm.
the LLM knows, how to write the user stories.
Hmm.
So this way, it will write all the acceptance criteria based on the usage of the prototype, which is, I think, could be a pretty neat way to do that.
Hmm.
Because at the end of the day, you don't really need user story if you have a really good prototype that the developers can look at and say, okay, this is what happens when we click here, and this is what happens when we click there. But in the past, prototypes were always very limited to how much you put into them.
Hmm.
And now with vibe coding applications, you could put as much as you want in them. They
Hmm.
may not be production worthy, but they may be very operational with real data and with a lot of functionality that the developers can definitely look into.
Right.
So I think the user stories could, with a good infrastructure there, the user stories could be written directly from those prototypes. Of course, you have to review them
Yeah.
and stuff like that, but I think that could be a good way to remove a lot of the work that we do and generate those quickly. Because at the end of the day, we don't want to be in this step. We don't want to be the bottlenecks for the development team. And I've even started hearing recently, I don't remember from whom, that how in the past there was a ratio of, I don't know, 1 p.m. for 3, 4 developers. At least
Hmm.
that was at the time when
Yeah.
I started product development 20 years ago. Now I've heard like 2 p.m.s for one developer because developers can develop so fast. So
Yeah.
it's really we don't want to be the bottleneck. So
Right.
the more we can get you know uh, to the validation, to the strategy, and less on writing stuff all the time, then that might be the way to go.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I still see a lot of value in the user story itself, and mixing the prototype with the story, and just it'll help even people that are not beyond the developer, beyond them, like designers and other people, like going into the backlog and going into the understanding of how things work. I always look at it, it's a repository of like what's happened. And I
Hmm.
maybe, I think about the backlog and the building of things like that is a repository of knowledge in some
Hmm.
aspect. Like
Yeah,
you go to your Epic, you look at your Epic, you look at your stories and you drill down. This is the amount of work that was done. So I think if you just spit out a prototype sometimes it's like what's the context behind it? Like I've seen some cool prototypes done like in Lovable, but like there's a lot going on there. It could almost be too much if you just give that over to somebody. You
yeah,
really have to be explicit about what we want to build and how
yeah,
fast we can build that thing.
yeah, yeah. Okay, and then launching it to the market, the go-to market and
Hmm.
launch to the market. Probably over there is a lot that AI can help us as well with, writing user documentation and writing FAQs and
Hmm.
a lot of things like that. Um, I know this is could be, I don't think we talk a lot about it in the podcast before, but it could be quite a confusing step in the process, like who owns that exactly?
Hmm.
Because go-to-market also means different things to different people. From product management perspective, what it means to me at least is that the product is not just ready to release, but
Hmm.
it's ready to the market.
Right.
And the company is ready to the market. So marketing and sales are ready to sell it and understand why we develop what we developed and who are the right clients and users, and what are we trying to achieve with the release. Customer support and customer success know what are the new things and the changes, and they know how to support it. and what might be some gotchas.
Hmm.
We have the support ready for it, with whatever they need to do to identify issues and to support the clients. And users know how to use it especially if system is not very intuitive.
Right.
And we know as much as we designers try to do that, it's not always. And then, of course, the team is ready for whatever, they try to learn from the release and all of that stuff. So there is a lot of things that need to be ready in order to go to market. And then executives and all the other stakeholders,
Right. Yep.
So I think there is a lot of usually it's project planning, to put all the
Yeah.
different
All the
places
different pieces together. Yeah.
together, and then communication and documentation and internal and external, so all of those things. So I think it definitely could be help with AI, especially that there is should be so much content already being created from before. So just restructure it to
Right.
a new way of going out, right? Release notes,
That's the key.
yeah, whichever way that if you're developing API, so API documentation, so there is
Hmm.
always something, right?
Right. Right.
Um, so I don't know if there is any other things I can think about here, but going to monitoring, which is the last step, is really going back to what we talked about before. There is a lot of data that is collected. How do we see the trees from the forest?
Hmm.
Or more specifically, how do we see the good trees,
Right.
the insights from the data that we collect?
How do you monitor the success of your launch using tools like Pendo and stuff like that? We
Yeah,
now have incorporated AI as well. So,
exactly, exactly. So again, it could be done with systems you might already have,
hmm
like you mentioned, Pandora or whichever,
hmm
or you might have to build something on your own if they don't give you that real insights. And the insights might not be just from the data that you monitor. I can tell you that, in the past, I had to go to a BI engineer in my company to create some dashboard with some insights for me
hmm
because the information was not just from what we collected in the product. The information was also from the sales cycle and the
hmm
support cycle. And so we got information from different places. And if the product that people are using, or dear listeners, if the product that you're using don't have integrations with other products in your ecosystem, you might have to do it on your own somehow. But agentic AI are pretty good these days to do that. And we'll talk about a tool that does that.
Yeah, even going back to the go-to-market. So go-to-market enablement, and I think AI can help consolidate and like corral all those different places, like and sales enablement, helping them sell, like talk about value, customer success, making artifacts like videos and stuff like tutorials and stuff like that. So AI is a good element to use there because it helps bring together all the stuff, like you said, that you already have potentially and help just bring it all together and package it up for everybody. But then the next step from a monitoring perspective, again, it's not just, hey, people went into and used the feature a little bit. It's also like, hey, what did we define as our success metrics? What's our North Star? Are we achieving that stuff? And then it's bringing in like, these are the X amount of customers that are currently using it. Is it a paid feature? Are they trialing it? Are they paying for it? Bringing in ARR, like, are these big fish, small fish? And just bringing all that kind of information together. I think that's where AI really is of value because it does help all those things that you have to bring together,
Yeah.
but it helps make you more efficient in bringing that
Yeah.
together.
We actually talked about some of those products in the past when we interviewed
Hmm.
Hunch. Um,
Yeah.
so their product is exactly that,
Yep.
collecting data from different sources and then asking it questions, any
Right.
questions that we might want to ask, right?
Right.
Um, and building prototypes. So we talked with Arquette.
Hmm.
But I think that we will see more and more and more of those products in future, and
Yep.
there are already some products that everyone knows, so we will cover those in the series. or some of those. We cannot cover all products.
Right.
It's impossible these days.
It is. It is.
I think when we started the podcast 4.5 years ago,
Yep.
we were like, are there enough products for us to cover that?
Yeah. We haven't had a shortage of those.
No, no shortage of those. I find new products on a daily basis almost. So,
Always.
uh, which is a bit ridiculous, I think, these days. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
That's why we are here.
New products we've already talked about. They're adding new features like
Yeah,
AI and stuff like that. So
yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah.
the great thing about software is that it evolves and grows along the way, just like we do
Mhm.
on the podcast.
Exactly, exactly. And who knows? Maybe one day AI will replace us in the podcast. We'll just give all the episodes and
You'll
we'll
never
tell it,
know.
now you do an episode with Moshe's voice and Matt's voice.
Ah, that's it. Yeah, there
And
we go.
you talk about this topic, go do the research and just talk and see what
That's
happens.
it. Yep. It'll have our images and everything. Nobody will be able to tell the difference.
But
So,
then where's going to be all the fun? I mean, the fun
all
is
right.
in having those discussions.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's at the end of the day, I don't think AI replaces us in the long term. So,
Hopefully,
yeah,
hopefully.
hopefully not.
Or at least
Hopefully
I
not.
don't want to live that long to see it. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I like to be optimistic and think of it as a partnership and we'll work in harmony together along the way.
hmm hmm
So we shall see.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm excited about this. Even
Yeah, I'm
though
looking forward to it.
I am the AI pessimist, I am excited about this.
As the optimist with a dash of caution, I'm very excited about it. It all like you said at the beginning of the show, it comes up in all of our episodes, I think. So it's
Yeah,
nice to kind of focus in and tune into it, and hopefully we can help the audience, get to what's really important.
exactly. And I think just as a note, personal note there, I think over time you moved me towards you and I moved you a little towards me.
Yeah,
So
I think so. We're gonna meet in the middle, I think, somewhere along the way.
well, yeah, so this is a very fruitful partnership right here.
100%.
Uh, Amazing. Great. Looking forward to all of those amazing guests that we're bringing in. And stay tuned. This is probably, I don't know, is this series going to be overlapping the end of the year
I
somehow? I'm
think
not
so. I
sure.
mean, I think it'll come close. Yeah. So I think we should head into the new year with finishing up AI or just allowing AI to breathe and remain open all 2026.
Yeah,
As we know,
we'll see how it
as we
works.
see how it works. So we're excited for it and just want to thank everybody for listening. Thank you, Moshe. Thank you to all the listeners, and we'll talk to everybody next time. Take
Thank
care.
you, Matt. Take care.
Thank you to all the listeners. We really appreciate the feedback and support. Please leave us a review to help others find the show on Apple or Spotify or anywhere else you're listening to the show.